Good evening, Central Valley. I'm your host, Raj Singh, and you are watching a weekly political podcast. And along with me, I have two co-hosts. I would like them to introduce themselves. Pritesh, please go ahead.
Hi, I am Gurdwara Singh, co-host for this show that we are starting for political podcast on the weekly basis. So I am a resident of Tracy and will be hosting these podcasts to share with you our policymakers, so what their thought process is and how they want to take our cities, our country in the forward direction. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Raj Dillon. I'm also a community member over here and resident as well in Tracy, and I'm slowly getting into the hang of things. And I'm very excited to have this meeting over here so we can talk about the county supervisor and how things are going to get better from now on, and the reasons for all the stuff that's been going on and all the positive aspects that are going to come out of this. I hope everybody can, learn from and gain some very good aspects.
Thank you, Gudesh. Thank you, Raj. And I'm glad to have you guys along with me. This is our first weekly political podcast that we're hosting. And today we are going to have a county supervisor from Stanless District 2nd, Manning Garewal. His appointment was appointed by the governor. So let's all welcome Manning Garewal on our show.
Good evening, guys. Thank you so much, Rajdeep, Gurtej, and Raj, to have me on the show. I know you guys have been politically engaged for many years now, and it's nice to see you guys even taking it a step further and getting it out, getting your message out to the community, not just to the Sikh Indian community, but the community at large. I think this is a very much needed civic engagement to include the community and hold our electeds accountable like me. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we can do better. And that's why I'm really looking forward to having this conversation and many more to come in whenever you need me, whenever you need clarification on something, or when I need you to educate me on concerns of the community that I may be missing. So I appreciate all three of you, Rajdeep and Gurtej. I know, like I said, you guys have been doing a while. Raj, it's good to see the younger generation getting engaged in political conversations that are for the betterment of our community.
Well, thank you so much, Manning Garewal. I should call you as a supervisor, Garewal. So first of all, congrats.
I'm good, Manny. The references of our titles are only as good as how much of a service we provide to our community. So I'd always like to be known as Manny, and the position that I'm in. Hopefully, that just gives me that really humbling aspect of that. I'm at the end of the day a public servant.
So we're glad you're holding thoughts like that. So that's wonderful of being as a politician. And first, I would like to congratulations because it's one of the biggest things being a Sikh American. You're the first appointed elected official in the Stanless County that's going to be sitting on the District 2nd as a Board of Supervisor. That being said, as all of us, we share our backgrounds from India, and there's a huge tension going between the farmers, India, and the Indian government. And I know for a fact that all of us here on Saturday and Sunday, we were standing in the solidarity for the farmers together. And I would like you to address on that, how you are helping and how you're being involved in that.
Well, we all know that this is a struggle that the farmers in India are facing. Some of the bills that the government has proposed obviously affect our way of life, affect their livelihood. And that's a concern. And then the bigger concern is not even to be able to have a fruitful conversation with the policymakers. And I think that's what's agitated a lot of people, because when you put any law in place or any new assessment of a law, it needs to be ran through your constituencies. And the people in Punjab feel that wasn't done. So now it's become not only a national but a worldwide issue, because any democracy owes it to their citizens to listen to their concerns and then make those decisions and hopefully find a nice compromise, find a nice middle ground to who those laws are directly affecting. And we've seen in the last 2 weeks that this has taken on a life of its own, and deservedly so, because the conversation needs to be had. This week, a lot of our Indian community went out to the Indian consulate in San Francisco in the thousands. And that just shows the solidarity and how important it is to people that don't even reside in Punjab, but still have roots from Punjab. So this is a conversation that the Indian government cannot try to dissuade or get away from. They're going to have this conversation if they want to have, the allegiance of the Punjabi community, the Sikh community. They're going to have these conversations. And in the small, humble way that I can help, that was one of my first things I did when I took office, was write a letter asking the people that are there to have those conversations, to start having those conversations, and to make adjustments to those bills so that they can work for the people that you are trying to make them work for, right? When you make a law and you're affecting people, you need to have that conversation with the people that it's affecting. So I'll be chanting that mantra that you need to have a conversation. You need to give us a seat at the table and have an open dialogue to make sure that people aren't, disadvantaged or affected in a negative manner.
Well, thank you so much, Manny, and we are so glad that elected officials like you and you are taking a stand and helping and supporting all our brothers and sisters back in India. With that being said, let's just now jump into more to get to know about who Manny Gurdwara is. So I would like to start off with knowing about you. Where did you grow up? What school, high schools did you go to? How did you actually end up being in the public services, and why did you choose to be in here? So all of that together, we're excited to know about it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Much like many of us, my parents came here many, many years ago, 1972, so going on almost 50 years, and they made Stanislaus County, Modesto, their home. My brother and I were born and raised in Modesto, went to local schools, went to college in the area, came back and started to raise our family here as well. When you start being born and raised in a certain area, you really start building a allegiance and an appreciation of the area, and that's what happened with me in Stanislaus County in Modesto. And that's why I decided to raise my family here as well. My wife and I decided to raise our 4 children here in Modesto as well. Once I knew that we were totally vested, meaning being born and brought up, now raising our children, and hopefully grow at an age where I spend my entire life in this region, it was very apparent to me that I needed to get involved. I'm a big believer that you try to make whatever city or profession you may be in better than it was prior to you getting there. And in my very small way, I felt that getting involved in civic engagement at any level, whether it was being in neighborhood groups, being on the planning commission, just to get to learn and to be able to provide some assistance to people that need it most. So that was the reason I got involved. So in 2012, I got appointed to the City of Modesto Planning Commission. In 2015, many people encouraged me to run for city council, which after talking it over to with my family, I took that challenge on, and we were running against an incumbent council member, first time running for elected office, but I did it the old school way of really connecting with the voters, walking door to door, being able to engage with them, listen to their concerns, listen to their issues, and assure them that if I got the opportunity to serve, that I would be an advocate for them and somebody that would be at their disposal for any concerns they may have. So I served on the city council for 5 years. During that time, I also sought out higher office at the state level, and not because of the ambitiousness of being in a higher office. For me, I learned at the city level that a lot of the things that happen are mandated or dictated by the state. So being somebody that likes to have a seat at the table where the discussions are had, I felt that would be a right fit for me. So I ran, many of you know, and I think we ran a very impressive campaign. for a lowly council member out of City of Modesto to run for a office that had over 1 million constituents. I got to learn a lot. I feel that we ran a respectable campaign, garnered over 45,000 votes, major endorsements, and raised a lot of our fundraising capabilities through the help of the entire community, get our message out. And we came short, but I learned a lot from it. And I think it got a lot of people that wouldn't be engaged in politics, got them engaged. The Sikh community really became engaged, and that was very humbling and empowering to me to see that we can really start a revolution of getting Sikhs and first-time generations into elected office at the state level. Like I said, unfortunately, that didn't work out. So I was just looking at ways of how I can continue to be engaged in the community, regardless of whether it was through elected office or just being a good community member, serving on different boards. So I serve on the board at the university, CSU Stanislaus, serve on the board for Sutter Memorial Hospital here in Modesto. So got involved in a lot of boards that I've been on for many, many years. But then this opportunity presented itself. And this was like almost like running 2 elections in the same year. We ran in March, and that didn't turn out where we had to run again in November. But then this position became open at the unfortunate event that Supervisor Berryhill passed away, who provided a great service to the residents of District 4 in Stanislaus County. Once he passed away, it was, excuse me, the position was up for an appointment by Governor Gavin Newsom. I applied for that, and this was a process as well, because you still have to reach out to groups that are vested in seeing the county succeed. So you have to appeal to them. You have to be able to tell your message to them. You have to tell them why you're doing this. And then eventually it's at the, at the governor's discretion who he or she may appoint. We made our case. We got many, many letters of support. We got many different groups vying for us. And then on November 20th, Governor Newsom called and said that his decision was made, and he would like me to serve out the remaining term for Supervisor Berryhill until January 1st of 2023. So it's a great honor to be appointed, and I look forward in the next 2 years to build those relationships with the community and the constituents of District 4 in Stanislaus County and the overall county, and then be able to really serve them well. And like I said, I don't plan on going anywhere. My family resides here. My wife, she has a business here. She practices dentistry. She has multiple offices in the district. Myself, my family comes from a farming background, and other investments that we have in the area. 4 children, 17, 13, 11, and 9. So I look forward to seeing them grow as they age here in Stanislaus County. So for me, this is a real honor. I don't take it lightly. I take it with a lot of responsibility. And it's 2 tiers. The responsibility is 2 tier. Obviously, serving the overall community and the entire community, but also the Sikh community, being one of the few elected, appointed officers at a county level, and then first at a city level. I always feel that I have a secondary responsibility to make sure that I make my Sikh community as proud as well.
Thank you so much, Manny Gurwara. Like the overall, the journey that you showed us, like how you got onto a planning commission, to a council member, and you were a deputy mayor of Modesto as well. So big accomplishment on that part as well. And this is a proud moment, just not only for Stanislaus, but the entire Central Valley. You being the first elected Sikh American and appointed by our governor, that's a huge, huge opportunity and huge accomplishment. So congratulations, and we're very proud of you. And now, moving forward, I would like Raj Dhillon to actually keep us going on. The time clock is keep ticking to start off with the second question, as he's very curious to know about all the different political services or the public services, and he wanted to learn more about it.
Yeah. So I know previously we talked about the farmers in India and how the policy making and when the people that are in charge when they make policies and they don't talk about okay these people we're changing their lives and we don't discuss it with them, we don't talk to them about it, and those things really affect it. So with you being positioned on or everybody around how policy making reasoning about it, how do you like go on towards that? What are like step by steps? What are the main goals, the main like things where you can figure out like, where are we going wrong, where can we go right, how do we get everybody equally connected to where we can make the right policies, and kind of share a little bit about that, and how do you plan out to make that work?
Yeah, that's a great question, Raj. Being in any policy-making body, you want to make sure that you hear all sides of an issue, right? You want to make sure there's obviously there's going to be proponents, there's going to be opponents, there's going to be people that are just bystanders, and they're neutral on what the decision is. But the voice of the proponents and sometimes the opponents is even louder. So that's where you have to make sure that you engage everyone and ask them what their concerns are, and then try to find common ground. And I'm always a big believer in you do the people's business in front of the people. So when they show up in front of a policy-making board, they're having these conversations with you, and that's for you to make sure that you've already gathered enough information, that you're educated on the subject matter, and then when you make the decision, you're able to justify it to both sides, whether you voted in favor of the proponents or voted in the side of what the opponents were proposing or what they were not wanting to happen. That's always been important to me. For me, it's always looking at it as you want no regrets, knowing that the decision you made wasn't done without enough due diligence. The litmus test I always hold myself to is at night, that on a good day you make 60% people happy and 40% are going to be upset with the decision. Some days it's even tighter. You have 50% that are happy, 50% that are upset. But you have to be able to personalize that to yourself and say, did I make the best decision knowing what I knew? And at the last and the most important is, was it for the betterment of the community? Was it for the betterment of the masses? Did I not just look at one group or one entity and just voted with them because I felt compelled to, or was it to serve a broader population? And that's something that's very important to me. So when policy making happens, going back to the part that we were talking about, the farmers in India, it seems like they were opponents of the bill, but they never got the opportunity to convey why they weren't for the bill. So that's very important to me, and I think anybody that's in any office, whether that's the city, at the county, at the state, even at federal, any political office, that's a duty that we have, is to make sure that we are available to listen to the concerns or why somebody would like something to happen a certain way.
Thank you so much for answering that question. That was a very great detail. I guess we can transition over to Mr. Gurdwara.
Thank you very much, Raj. So thank you very much, Manny. First of all, I want to congratulate you. And as you mentioned, this is the policy making. You're working for the society. And when you took office, you made your voice heard for the farmers. So as you are our leader, US is a leader globally. So now with the responsibilities that you are getting into as a county supervisor, so many of us are not aware what roles and responsibilities and what kinds of challenges comes with this role as a county supervisor. So will you please share us with what challenges will be while in this position for your constituency, and what kinds of roles and responsibilities will you be playing as a county supervisor to help your Stanislaus County?
Thank you, Gurdwara. So the county supervisor position in most counties, some more than others, usually have 5 county supervisors, but San Francisco has more, and there may be some others. I think LA County has 7, and don't quote me on that, but predominantly, it's usually about 5. And I can tell you that for the neighboring counties for sure, Merced, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin County. So in Stanislaus, we oversee a budget of about $1.5 billion. So when I was, just to put it in context, when I was at the city of Modesto, our general fund budget was around $130 million. And then with all public works, utility was somewhere in the 300 million range. 30 different departments, some that are ran by appointed department heads, and some are elected. So the sheriff, the district attorney, the assessor, the clerk recorder, the district attorney, if I hadn't mentioned that. So 30 different departments, and then there's appointed positions, the CEO of the county, public health director, which obviously right now is a very important role. Not that it always isn't, but right now because of the pandemic, that's where a lot of the discussions are being had, how to control the spread of COVID-19. So 30 different departments, 12 different bargaining groups, and it's a huge responsibility, one that I feel that needs to be addressed and made sure that you're meeting with all these groups, meeting with all the department heads, planning, building, all of that. I mean, you really are setting policy for the entire county, regardless of which district you represent. Obviously, the district you represent is where the constituents vote you in, but you want the betterment of the entire county. And so on the Board of Supervisors, we have 9 cities, 5 board of supervisors. You work closely with the mayors. You work closely with other electeds in the county. And, I would say that the county board of supervisors, there's a huge amount of responsibility, but there's a huge amount of resources. You have the mayors and the council members from their respective cities doing a lot of the work as well. And then when there's assistance needed or where we need to all come together to work as a cohesive group, then we're always there for the cities. And for me, it's just interesting to see going from a city to now the county, the broad amount of coverage area, right? I mean, the county's 550,000 people, Stanislaus County. City of Modesto was the county seat, the largest city in the county, about 220,000. So going from being a council member to being on the Board of Supervisors, population-wise, it doubled, but the budget went up tenfold. And then working with the sheriff and the district attorney, you get to see a lot of the stuff that's happening in law enforcement, a lot of those policies and procedures. They're not direct reports to you because they're elected as well, but you do work with them hand in hand on putting together their budget and overcoming concerns that they have to make sure that they're running efficient departments.
Thank you very much, much appreciated. But yeah, with your experience as you were the council member of one of the biggest cities that we have in Central Valley, so Stanislaus County, so that will be another opportunity for you to show your same kind of leadership for the whole county, for all the 9 cities. So now I'll transition it back to Rajdeep.
Thank you. I think we covered pretty much all the important topics to know about Manning very well, and I personally would like to say thank you for your time being with us and helping us understand what it means to be a county supervisor, how much huge responsibility you're going to have on your shoulders for the entire county and all the cities comes under. And with your leadership, I think it'll be a very successful 2-year term for you, and we wish you good luck. And we're very proud of you with such a great accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Both of you have been very helpful when I ran for the Senate campaign as well. And again, I don't think that I've said it enough. What you're doing to really get the community involved, people like Raj, the young generation that really needs to get involved. I always say that the first generation came here to kind of get us grounded, give us an opportunity to get a good education, give us an opportunity to prosper further than they were able to financially. But now the second generation's kind of carried that forward. We've kind of now become business owners. We've become the ones that are doing good philanthropic work in the communities that we reside in, and then also getting in elected, appointed positions. But I really hold the third generation with Raj and my children to really take it to the next level. I think that day is not far from us when we see the first Sikh congressman But that's only going to happen with engagement and having these conversations and really giving them the confidence and the encouragement that, yeah, it's great being in the medical profession, engineering, and other things, but being in political in the political spectrum of things is very important as well. It doesn't make as much money as a doctor does, but I think it could be just as gratifying to serve the community that you reside in. So although all those positions are very noble and needed, I think this is also one that sometimes, especially Punjabi parents, they would say, hey, first do this. But I as one that's have 4 children myself, I want to encourage them to get involved politically, and not just for the ambition of being a politician, but being there to serve the community that you were residing in or born and brought up in. And I've been very blessed, and I'm grateful that I'm getting that opportunity. It's the most, overwhelming at times, but the most appreciative and encouraging for me as a resident of Stanislaus County.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are such inspiration to a lot of folks like us, and definitely Raj and upcoming generations. And we will stay in touch, and we will invite you again for some other topic. Thank you so much, Manny.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great evening and keep doing the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.